Oh my god, look at this. Whoopi Goldberg quits Twitter. Millions of people quit Twitter every day, but when a blue checkmark does it, it's breaking news. Anyway, we're talking about Westworld today. I actually like this show. Well, the first season, at least. For those of you who haven't watched it, it was very interesting. It was about artificial intelligence. There were androids that could mimic human behavior incredibly perfectly. And they were in this amusement park in which rich people would travel. And these AIs, these robots, were kind of like the NPCs in a Western video game, except it was real. And most of the rich people there, they would abuse the NPCs. They would violate them, they would shoot them. It was basically for their own pleasure. And the story is about how the NPCs are starting to get sentience, how they managed to win their freedom. And the first season, absolutely amazing. However, after that, for some fucking reason, I don't know why, it decides to go woke. And what I mean by this is that they start pushing identity politics. All of a sudden, every single male character is an absolute moron. Completely incapable. Like, not a single male character can do anything without the help of a woman. And the women become absolutely unbelievable. Like, completely perfect. Everything they do is right. And that's when I started tuning out. Unfortunately, other people decided to stay. And as you can see, season 1, really great. Right? 93% audience score. Then you go to season 2. And 76% audience score. Then when you go to season 3, you got 62. And finally, as you go to season 4, you got 54%. Even the official critics, I mean the holy, the anointed ones, even they realize that the show is not as good as the first season. So, yeah, HBO decided to cancel it. And a lot of people are complaining on Twitter saying that they have done the producers wrong. And I'm thinking, like, who cares? Like, no one watches this shit. Like, you started on season 1 with 12 million people watching per episode. I mean, that's huge. And then by the end of season 4, it could barely get 4 million per episode. And I'm sure that the next season would get even less. And they preferred to pay the actors for another season, but just not do the show, because it would have been more expensive. And it's such a horrible shame, because this was such a great episode. Like, one of the things that I hate, for those of you who actually watched it, there was this villain, the Man in Black, and he was very ominous, all-powerful. He knew a lot about the park. He was always 2 steps ahead of the main characters. I mean, he was like a really well-made villain. And by season 2, he was a dumbass. Like, he wouldn't be able to do almost anything. Like, he stopped being a threat. Why? Because he had to step back and make room for the women. Because it's identity politics, right? Like, you can't have a man outshine a woman in modern Hollywood. And it was such a shame. I mean, they completely destroyed this. And I don't understand why. Like, they had the perfect formula, and they just refused to keep going with it. And also another interesting thing that a lot of fans were complaining, at least the ones that were still subjected to this torture, despite the fact that the show is called Westworld, I believe after season 3, it doesn't even take place in the West. It reminds me of a joke that Ben Shapiro had in an interaction with the student, where the student is talking about how, like, why does Star Wars require to have war in it? And Ben Shapiro is like, because it's in the name, it's Star Wars. But, like, this is what happens, you know? Like, even the name doesn't tell them, like, what they need to do with the franchise. It's like, Westworld, it should be in the West. I mean, come on. Let me know what you guys think, though. And I will see you in the comment section. Take care.